There is a place where the ordinary world ends and something older begins, a place where the air itself is alive, heavy and warm and sweet with the breath of 1,000 growing things, where the darkness is not empty, but full, layered, humming softly with life. You are standing at that place now. Just standing, quietly, at the very edge of the Amazon rainforest, on a night when the moon rides low behind a veil of silver cloud, and the mist rises up from the earth as though the forest itself is breathing out. You arrived here gently. You don't quite remember how, perhaps you simply found yourself here, the way you sometimes find yourself in a dream, already present, already belonging. The path behind you has disappeared into the soft darkness. There is only forward now, only inward, into the green and the mist and the quiet symphony of the night. The air is warm against your skin. Not uncomfortably so, not the sharp, pressing heat of midday, but the lingering warmth of a day that never fully lets go. A warmth that has soaked into every leaf and every root and now radiates back out into the evening like a gentle embrace. You breathe it in slowly. You let it settle into your chest. Let your shoulders soften. Breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The first things you notice are the sounds. They come to you gradually, the way your eyes adjust to darkness. First the obvious ones, the loudest, and then, as you settle, the subtler layers beneath. There is the high, rhythmic song of insects, thousands of them, creating a living wall of sound that somehow soothes rather than disturbs. Crickets and cicadas and creatures you have no name for, all singing the same ancient lullaby, the one this forest has been singing for 10 million years. Beneath that, you begin to hear the water. It is everywhere. A trickle somewhere to your left where a thin stream finds its way between mossy roots. A distant murmur from deeper in, where a wider river moves with slow patience through the trees. And above it all, the softest sound of all, the almost silent drip, drip, drip of moisture condensing on broad leaves and falling, drop by drop, back to the earth from which it came. You take a step forward. The soft ground yields beneath your feet, not wet, just yielding, cushioned by centuries of fallen leaves that have been absorbed back into the forest floor. Each step is soundless. Each step takes you a little further in. The trees here at the edge are already enormous. Their trunks wider than a house, their bark clothed in dark velvet moss, their roots rising up from the earth in great curved buttresses that make them look like gentle giants standing guard. You run your hand along one as you pass. The bark is cool and slightly damp to the touch, rough and alive beneath your fingers. Above you, the canopy is a world of its own, invisible now in the darkness, but felt, a vast presence overhead, shifting slowly in an almost imperceptible breeze, rustling softly like the turning of 1,000,000 pages in some ancient, unreadable book. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. You move inward one slow step at a time. The last gray light of the open sky behind you fades. The mist thickens around your ankles. The forest closes around you like a warm hand, gently, tenderly, welcoming you into its keeping. And you feel, without quite knowing why, completely and utterly safe. The world you came from, the worries, the plans, the noise, all of it is dissolving now, the way the mist dissolves at the edges of things, leaving only this. The warm dark, the living sounds, the soft ground beneath your feet, and the quiet, patient certainty that this forest has been here long before you and will be here long after. And for right now, in this gentle night, it is yours to wander through. You breathe in. The air tastes of green and earth and rain. You breathe out and let everything else go. The deeper you walk, the more the forest changes around you, though changes is perhaps too sharp a word for what happens here, where everything moves so slowly that change itself seems restful. It is more accurate to say that the forest reveals itself, layer by layer, the way a piece of music reveals its depth only as you truly settle into it and let it fill you. The trees have grown larger. You weren't counting your steps, but you sense that you have walked deeper than you thought, guided by some gentle instinct, some quiet pull. The trunks around you now are truly ancient, perhaps 500 years old, perhaps 1,000, rising from the earth with the unhurried certainty of things that have never needed to rush. Their buttress roots fan out around you in great sweeping curves, some of them taller than your head, and the spaces between them are like small rooms, intimate and sheltered, floored with soft, dark earth. You pause for a moment in one of these root rooms and simply stand. Above you, the tree rises and rises until it disappears into the darkness and the mist. It has no beginning, it seems, and no end. It simply is, has always been, will always be, and standing beside it you feel your own smallness not as something diminishing, but as something deeply restful. To be small in a forest like this is to be held. To be held is to be allowed, finally, to let go. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The mist has thickened around you now. You can see it moving, barely, slowly, drifting through the root rooms and between the trunks, catching the faintest gleam of moonlight that filters down through 100 canopy layers above. The mist is silver where the light touches it and blue-gray where it doesn't, and it moves with the languor of something that has all the time in the world, which of course it does, which of course you do too, right now, in this place where time itself has softened its edges. From somewhere above you, high up in the canopy, comes the sound of a night bird. A single, slow call, soft, falling, unhurried. It calls once and then is quiet, and the silence after it is somehow fuller than the silence before, the way silence always is when something beautiful has just moved through it. You close your eyes for a moment. With your eyes closed, the sounds sharpen, not in volume but in detail. You can hear the individual drops of moisture falling from leaf to leaf. You can hear the faint creaking of a high branch somewhere in the darkness, settling slightly, as though the tree itself is sighing and shifting in its sleep. You can hear your own breath, slow and even, rising and falling in the warm, dark air. When you open your eyes again, the forest seems to glow, just slightly, just enough. There is a faint luminescence to certain mosses on the trunks, barely visible, more felt than seen, a soft greenish light that doesn't illuminate so much as it suggests, hinting at the living world all around you. It is one of the rainforest's quiet secrets, offered to those who are patient enough, still enough to notice. You breathe it in, all of it. The scent of the earth and the trees, the moisture in the air, the faint sweetness of some night-blooming flower hidden somewhere in the dark. Your body has begun to relax in ways you hadn't even realized it was holding itself. Your jaw is looser, your hands are uncurled, your shoulders have dropped half an inch without your asking them to. The forest is doing this. The forest is generous with its calm. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The canopy overhead rustles again in a slow wave, like a gentle exhalation, and a few drops of moisture fall through the layers, tapping softly on the broad leaves below. One lands on your cheek, cool, clean, unhurried. You don't wipe it away. It belongs here. You are beginning to feel, in the quietest possible way, that you belong here too. You lean your back gently against the ancient trunk and feel it solid and real behind you. The bark is cool through your clothing. The tree does not mind. It has held other things, vines that have climbed it for decades, birds that have nested in its high forks, rain and sun and the slow accumulation of years. And now it holds you briefly in this quiet dark night, and that is enough. That is more than enough. The forest breathes around you. You breathe with it, in and out, slow and full and easy. There is nowhere else to be. There is nothing else to do. There is only this warm and living dark, this ancient silence filled with soft sound, this mist and moonlight, and the patient company of trees that have been standing here since long before you were born. You hear it before you feel it. A soft pattering, high above, the rain finding the canopy, settling onto the broad upturned leaves of the uppermost trees, whispering its arrival in 1,000 simultaneous tiny touches. It is the sound of something enormous and gentle, something that covers everything at once without pressing on anything, without demanding. The rain in the Amazon does not announce itself. It arrives the way the mist arrived, as though it has always been here and is only now choosing to make itself audible. By the time the first drops reach you, transformed by their long journey down through layer after layer of leaves into something softer, slower, larger, the sound above has built into a steady, rhythmic murmur. Not heavy rain, not a downpour. The kind of rain that has no urgency, that has settled in for the night and intends to stay, gentle and continuous and deeply, deeply soothing. A drop touches the back of your hand. Another lands in your hair. They are warm. This surprises people sometimes. That rain in the rainforest can be warm, but it makes sense when you think about it slowly, the way you can think right now. The rain falls through warm air, gathers the warmth of the canopy, arrives at you not cold but close to the temperature of your own skin. It feels less like weather and more like a very gentle presence, reaching out to touch you. Let your shoulders soften. Breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The sound is extraordinary. You begin to pick it apart the way you might listen to an orchestra, finding the separate instruments within the whole. There is the high, bright tapping of the rain on the largest, hardest leaves, broad philodendron leaves, elephant ears, the glossy surfaces of strangler fig, each drop landing with its own tiny, clean percussion, thousands of them overlapping into a continuous shimmer of sound. Beneath that, the softer sound of rain on softer surfaces, moss and lichen, and the velvet bark of smaller trees, a more muffled, cushioned texture in the music. And beneath that still, the low, continuous murmur of water beginning to move along the ground, gathering in tiny rivulets between the roots, threading its way toward the streams. You have begun walking again without quite realizing it, moving slowly through the rain, in no hurry, in no direction except deeper and further in. The rain is warm on your face. You let it be warm on your face. You let it touch you. The forest has transformed slightly in the rain. The smells have intensified, the green, alive smell of plants drinking, of earth receiving water, of ancient wood going dark and fragrant. Every breath brings more of it, that complex, layered fragrance that belongs entirely to this place and no other, that cannot be bottled or described in full, only experienced, only breathed. You breathe it in. You let it fill you. The mist and the rain have merged now. You cannot quite tell where one ends and the other begins. The air itself is water. It seems not enough to impede you, not enough to chill you, just enough to wrap around you, to be present in every breath, to remind you that you are inside something living, something that breathes and cycles and renews itself in the darkness while the sleeping world lies still. Let your shoulders soften. Breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. Through the rain you can still hear the insects, undaunted by the water. If anything, their song seems richer now, more layered, as though the rain has given them something to sing alongside. The crickets have been joined by something else, a low, almost frog-like pulse from somewhere near the stream, a bass note in the forest's nighttime music, slow and regular and deeply comforting. You walk toward the sound without rushing. The ground is soft. Your feet find their way. The rain continues its patient descending. Somewhere to your left, a large drop gathers at the tip of a leaf and falls a long distance before striking the surface of a puddle, a single, clear, resonant note, plunk, lasting only a fraction of a second, but somehow felt long after it has finished. The way a struck bell continues to vibrate after the sound has gone. These small sounds, the single drop, the creak of a branch, the distant low call of something moving in the trees, punctuate the steady rain like words in a poem, giving the whole composition its texture and meaning. Your breathing has deepened. You notice this without surprise. The rain has done it, the rain and the walking, and the warm night air, and the overwhelming, enveloping sense that the forest knows what it is doing, that it has been managing this balance of dark and light and wet and growth for so long that there is nothing here to be concerned about. Nothing at all. Only this gentle falling and this soft walking and the night going on around you in its beautiful, unhurried way. You hear the stream before you see it, you hear it growing, the low murmur separating itself from the rain sound, becoming something distinct, something with its own personality and pace. It is running over smooth stones somewhere just ahead. You can tell from the sound, a liquid, irregular tumbling, the water finding its way through and around whatever lies in its path with perfect equanimity, neither rushing nor stopping, neither forcing nor yielding, simply moving as water must. When you step around a great buttress root and see it, you stop for a moment to simply take it in. The stream is perhaps 3 or 4 feet wide, running dark and clear and shallow enough that you can see the pale, round stones of its bed, washed smooth by years of water moving over them. The rain has dimpled its surface into 1,000 overlapping circles that form and vanish and form again in an endlessly shifting pattern, beautiful and transient and immediately replaced. The moonlight, finding its way through a small gap in the canopy directly above, touches the surface of the water and turns it silver. You find a flat rock at the stream's edge and sit. The rock is slightly damp, as everything is, and slightly warm, retaining the day's heat the way stone does. You settle onto it, and the forest arranges itself around you, the sound of the water close and intimate, the rain continuing above and around, the insects singing, the mist drifting between the trees on the far bank. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. You watch the water for a long time. There is nothing to watch, precisely, just water, just moving water, and yet you find you don't want to look away. The movement of the stream is endlessly varied and endlessly the same. A ripple forms around a stone and spreads and fades. A small leaf, fallen from somewhere above, rides the current for a few seconds before catching on a twig and spinning slowly, once, twice, and then releasing and continuing downstream. The sound is continuous, overlapping with itself, a kind of white noise that the mind can rest upon without gripping, without analyzing, without needing to resolve or understand. You breathe with the water. Your exhalation goes out as the water goes by. Your inhalation comes in as the next moment of water arrives. Everything flows, nothing is held. On the far bank, a small frog has appeared. You didn't notice it arrive. It simply is there now, sitting very still on a dark, wet stone at the water's edge. Its throat pulses rhythmically as it sings its slow, low note. It is not bothered by your presence. It is, in fact, not thinking about your presence at all. It is simply doing what frogs do in the rainforest on rainy nights: sitting, breathing, singing, being. There is a lesson in this, though it is not the kind of lesson you need to think about or extract. It simply settles into you, the way the warmth settles into you, the way the sound settles into you. The rain on the surface of the stream creates a soft, continuous hiss beneath the bubbling of the water over stones, a layered sound, rich with overtones, that fills the space around you completely. You don't need to add anything to this moment. Nothing is missing. The air is warm, the stone beneath you solid, the water endlessly replenished, the frog singing, the mist drifting. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. You become aware, gradually, of how heavy your limbs are. Not uncomfortably heavy, pleasantly so, the way a body feels after a long walk when it finally finds a place to rest and the muscles release their held effort. Your legs have settled. Your arms lie quiet in your lap. Your head has tipped, just slightly, forward, not falling, just resting, the neck muscles releasing their vigilance inch by inch. The stream runs on. It ran before you arrived, and it will run long after you have moved on. This constancy is one of the most restful things about it, the knowledge that it needs nothing from you, that it is complete in itself, that your witnessing of it is a gift you give yourself, not a service you render. You can close your eyes, and the sound continues exactly as it was. The water does not need to be seen to be beautiful. You close your eyes. The sound blooms in the darkness behind your eyelids, richer now, more dimensional, filling more of your awareness. The rain, the stream, the frog, the insects, the distant drip and rustle, a full, complex music, received now not through sight but through something older and more direct. You breathe, the forest breathes, everything breathes. When you open your eyes again and rise from your stone, slowly, without hurry, you find that the rain has softened even further. It is barely rain now, barely more than the mist itself made audible. A whisper, a suggestion, the merest memory of rain. The leaves still drip. The stream still murmurs. But the drumming on the canopy has quieted to something almost inaudible, felt more than heard, a presence rather than a sound. You cross the stream at a shallow place, stepping stone to stone without difficulty, and continue into the deeper forest on the other side. Here the trees seem older still, the trunks darker, the moss thicker, the understory more open, as though the great canopy above has long since shaded out any plant that couldn't afford to wait. The space between the trees is wide and clear, and the ground is soft with decades of leaf fall. Walking feels effortless. The air is very still. High above, far above, there is movement. You cannot see it clearly, only sense it. Something large and unhurried moving through the uppermost branches. A shape that resolves, as you watch, into a great dark silhouette. A sloth, making its infinitely slow way from one tree to the next, moving in a kind of continuous stillness, so slow that motion and rest become indistinguishable. You watch until the shape is gone, absorbed back into the canopy's darkness, and you feel you have witnessed something almost sacred in its unhurriedness. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. The moonlight, freed now from the rain's interference, is making its way down through the canopy in long, pale shafts. Where the shafts of moonlight meet the mist, they become visible columns of silver light drifting with almost imperceptible slowness through the dark air, angling through the branches, touching the ground in soft pools that shift as the canopy moves. You walk through one of these columns and feel it on your skin, not warmth exactly. The moon has no warmth, but presence, a quality of light so different from sunlight that it seems to come from a different world. A gentler one in which all things are permissible to be at rest. The sounds of the night have settled into a comfortable pattern by now, one that feels entirely familiar, as though you have been listening to this particular combination of sounds for years. The frog chorus, several species now, each with its own voice, each occupying its own frequency, creates a dense, layered backdrop. The insects weave through and above. The trees drip. A night bird calls from somewhere unseen, its voice slow and falling and somehow perfectly suited to the hour. You walk with your face tilted slightly upward, watching the play of moonlight in the high canopy. The leaves up there are the size of small tablecloths, catching and holding and releasing the light as they move. There are 100 shades of green and silver in the moonlight, and behind them the stars, visible in small clusters through the gaps, are steady and very white and very far away. The forest and the sky. The ancient and the eternal. You moving slowly between them, very small, very peaceful, very present. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. The silence between the sounds has weight and texture now. You have been in the forest long enough that silence no longer feels like absence, but like the substance in which sound occurs, the ground from which all the music rises. When there is a pause between the frog calls, that pause is full, not empty. When the insects take a breath between their phrases, the breath is audible, meaningful. The forest communicates as much through its silences as through its sounds, and you are learning to receive both. Your mind has grown very quiet. The thoughts that usually move through it, plans, memories, worries, questions, have not so much left as thinned, become translucent, stopped pressing for attention. They drift through occasionally like leaves on a current, and you let them drift and they go. What remains is something simpler. Awareness, pure and clean, resting easily in the warm dark night, receiving the sounds, receiving the air, receiving this forest's ancient gift of peace. You pause beneath a tree of extraordinary presence, its canopy a vast umbrella above you, its roots creating a kind of moss-floored room around its base. You settle into the space between the roots without effort, the root walls curving around you like the arms of something very old and very patient. Above you the tree rises, and above the tree the moonlit clouds drift, and above the clouds the stars burn quietly in the dark, and you are here, in the middle of all of it, exactly where you need to be. The night has grown deeper around you. You cannot say what hour it is, the concept feels irrelevant, almost quaint, in a place where time is measured not in minutes, but in the slow growth of trees, the patient turning of seasons, the steady accumulation of years that produce forests this old and this complete. What you know is that the world feels very quiet now, and very still and very close. The mist has thickened again since the rain departed. It lies in long, low scarves between the trees, luminous and slow. Sometimes it drifts across your path and you walk through it, feeling it cool and gentle on your face, carrying its green and earthy scent. It parts around you and closes behind you, and you leave no trace. The forest is absorbing you slowly, gently, into itself. You find yourself moving more slowly. Not from fatigue, the walking has been so unhurried that there is no fatigue, but from the forest's own rhythm, which is slower now than when you arrived, slower the deeper you go, the later the night becomes. The forest at midnight moves differently from the forest at dusk. Everything has settled. Everything has arrived at its quiet place. Let your shoulders soften. Breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The sounds have simplified. The insect chorus has thinned slightly, not gone, never quite gone, but reduced to its essential voices, the ones that will sing through all hours until dawn. They have the quality now of something permanent, something that exists at the very bottom of sound, below thought, below intention. You stop trying to hear them individually and let them come to you as a whole, as atmosphere, as the texture of silence itself. The frogs near the stream have settled into a slow, patient alternation, call and response, each waiting its proper moment before answering. There is something deeply restful about this exchange, the pause before the response, the certainty that the response will come, the way the silence between them is companionable rather than empty. Call. Pause, response. Pause, call again, the simplest possible music. The oldest possible music. You are breathing very slowly now. You notice it the way you notice the breathing of someone who has fallen asleep beside you, that slight deepening, that slight slowing, the body making its own choices now, the body knowing what it needs. Each breath brings the forest air into you, rich and warm and alive. Each breath released carries away a little more of whatever tension remains, small amounts now, diminishing returns, because most of it has already gone, already dissolved into the warm night and the mist and the patient listening of trees. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. You rest against a tree again. You have been resting against trees throughout this journey, each one solid and cool and unreservedly supportive, each one indifferent to your smallness in the most comforting possible way. This tree is particularly old, its bark deeply furrowed, its presence enormous, its roots creating a cradle in the earth that fits you exactly. You let your weight settle into the tree's support. You let the roots hold you. You let the forest hold you. The moonlight has shifted as the night has turned, and where it touches the mist, now the effect is extraordinary. The whole forest seems to glow from within, the mist and the moonlight so thoroughly blended that there is no point of origin for the light, only a soft, sourceless luminescence that makes everything visible while revealing nothing sharply. Trees and roots and trailing vines swim in this gentle light. The world has lost its hard edges. Your body has lost its hard edges too. You can feel it, the boundaries between you and the warm air becoming less distinct, the sense of being inside a body becoming quieter, the sense of simply being, breathing, receiving, resting becoming the whole of experience. This is not alarming. It is the most natural thing in the world. This is what the forest does to those who stay long enough and quietly enough. It gently dissolves what is unnecessary. It leaves only what is essential. The mist drifts by, The frog calls once and waits. The insects sing their patient, ancient song. The tree holds you without effort. The night continues on its slow and certain way. There's a language spoken in this forest that has nothing to do with words. You have been hearing it all night without quite recognizing it as language. The tap of rain on leaves, the creak of wood, the breath of the mist, the slow call of the night bird. But now, in the deepening quiet of the late hours, you begin to understand that all of these sounds are saying the same thing over and over, in different registers and different textures, in an endless patient repetition. Rest now, rest now, rest now. The rain has returned, or rather, the rain never left, only softened to the point of invisibility and now has become audible again, or you have become still enough to hear it at this threshold of softness. It is barely rain. It is the idea of rain, the ghost of rain, just enough moisture falling from just enough height to tap very softly on the broadest leaves, which receive it and hold it in their waxy cups, and eventually let it go in single drops that fall the short distance to the leaves below. And so on down through the layers, each handoff slowing the water's descent, until what reaches the forest floor is barely movement at all, barely a falling, more like a slow settling. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. The drops on the leaves around you tap their soft, random rhythm. No two drops arrive at the same moment. No two drops sound quite the same, each leaf its own instrument, its own resonance, its own brief note. And yet together they make something that is not random at all, but rather the richest possible variety within the deepest possible consistency. Always raining, always different, always the same. You have closed your eyes again. You are not aware of having closed them, they simply chose to close, as eyes do when there is nothing pressing to see and so much to hear. Behind your eyelids the sounds continue, surrounding you, enclosing you in something that feels less like sound and more like warmth, less like information and more like embrace. The insects are singing, the frogs are singing, the rain is tapping. The water somewhere behind you is moving over its smooth stones with its liquid murmur. High above, a branch shifts and creaks just once and then is still. The night bird calls from its hidden perch, that slow, falling call that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere, from the forest itself rather than from any particular creature within it. Rest now, rest now, rest now. Your breathing has become so slow and deep that you can feel it all the way down, not just in your chest, but in your belly, your back, the base of your spine. Each inhalation is long and full and easy. Each exhalation is longer still, a gentle release, the body giving back what it doesn't need, making space for the next breath, the next moment, the next soft sound in the forest's endless patient music. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. Something touches your cheek, not rain this time, but something lighter, softer. A moth perhaps passing close in the dark, or only the mist gathering and moving and touching everything in its path. You don't open your eyes to check. Whatever it was gentle. Whatever it was, it meant no harm. Everything here means no harm. Everything here is simply being what it is, doing what it does, and you are simply being what you are, breathing, resting, present in the warm and living dark. The hours move. You can feel them moving, not as the ticking of a clock, but as a slow, large turning, the night turning toward its own center, its deepest point, the place where the darkness is most complete and most kind. That is where you are heading. That is where the forest is taking you. Gently, without your needing to try. The mist rises around you, slow and white and warm. The canopy sways overhead, barely perceptibly, in some high movement of air that doesn't reach where you sit. The roots curve around you. The tree holds you. The sounds continue, layered and patient and steady, saying what they have always said in the language that needs no translation. Rest, you are safe, rest. There is a time in the deep night, later than midnight, earlier than the first pale hint of dawn, when the world reaches its most perfect stillness. Not the stillness of emptiness, but the stillness of wholeness, of completion. Everything in its right place, everything doing exactly what it needs to do, the balance of the world momentarily, perfectly held. In the Amazon, this hour arrives in the fourth watch of the night, when even the most persistent insects have found their deepest register, when the rain has settled to its most patient falling, when the river moves with its most unhurried ease. You are in that hour now. The forest is so quiet around you that you can hear your own heartbeat, slow, patient, steady. You listen to it for a while. It has nothing urgent to say. It is simply beating, as it always has, as it will through the night and into the morning, whether you attend to it or not. The body knows its work. The body does its work without being asked. All you have to do is be here while it does. Let your shoulders soften. Breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The mist has settled to waist height now, drifting in long, slow rivers between the trees, so that the upper halves of the trunks emerge from it like islands from a silver sea. The roots are submerged in mist. The forest floor is submerged in mist. You are sitting in it, and it is warm and soft and slightly luminous, and it moves around you with the slowest possible motion, parting and closing, as though it is breathing too. High in the trees, far above, something is very slowly moving. You track it without urgency, without real focus, just a peripheral awareness of large, slow shape against slightly lighter sky. A night monkey, perhaps, making its unhurried way through the branches, or perhaps only a vine swaying in some breath of air that hasn't reached you yet. It doesn't matter. Everything that moves through this forest at this hour moves with the forest's permission and in the forest's manner, slowly, quietly, without disturbance. The sounds of the night have simplified further still. The insect song is there, it is always there, but it has become something your mind no longer needs to process, something that exists below the threshold of attention, pure sound without content, pure rhythm without meaning. It is the background of everything, the ground tone of the forest night, and your mind has released it the way you release the feeling of your own clothing on your skin, still there, but no longer noticed, simply accepted. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly, there is nothing to do but listen. What you notice now, in this late hour, is the space between things. The space between one drop of rain and the next. The space between one frog call and its answer. The space between your breaths, that still, full moment at the bottom of each exhalation before the next breath begins, when there is no breathing at all, only a complete and satisfied pause, a moment of perfect stillness within the body, a tiny reflection of the larger stillness of the night. These pauses have been growing longer as the hours have passed. Not dangerously so, just longer, the way pauses naturally grow when the body is deeply at rest, when the breath has found its most efficient rhythm, when there is nothing pressing the lungs to hurry. Each pause is comfortable. Each pause is complete. Each pause is its own small meditation on the nature of rest. You have been sitting for a long time, or no time at all. The distinction has stopped being meaningful. The roots curve around you, and the tree holds you, and the mist drifts around your knees, and the sounds come and come and come, steady as the turning of the earth, patient as the growth of trees, gentle as rain that has forgotten it was ever anything but this soft. The night deepens. The forest holds you. Your breathing slows, slows, slows. There is nothing to do but rest here, in this warm and breathing dark, and let the forest go on being what it is, and let yourself go on being what you are, and let the hours pass as hours do, quietly, without asking anything of you, carrying you gently forward into the dark and the deep and the soft and the still. The words are becoming few now. The forest is speaking in a language below language, in rhythm and in warmth and in the steady, patient pulse of things that have no need for thought. You are very deep in the night. You are very deep in the forest. You are very deep in the place where sleep lives. The rain taps, softly, on the leaves above you, each drop taking its time. Each drop arriving exactly when it arrives, no sooner, no later, as all things do in a place where hurry has never been invented. The mist drifts around you, warm and white and slow. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. Your body is very heavy now. Wonderfully, completely heavy, the kind of heaviness that is indistinguishable from comfort. That is comfort. That is the body finally fully letting go of its long day's work of holding itself upright and tense and ready. You are not upright now. You are not tense. You are resting, fully and completely, held by the roots and the earth and the warm night air and the sound of the rain. The insects sing, low and steady, always. The frog calls, once, and waits, and the answer comes, low, from further away, and the frog waits again. The stream runs somewhere behind you, over its smooth stones, quietly, not going anywhere, just moving, as water moves, always forward, always the same, always the sound of something being exactly what it is. Your breath moves in, slowly, filling you from the bottom to the top, warm forest air, green and moist and alive, and then slowly out, releasing, the long release, and then the quiet pause, the perfect pause, the pause that is not empty but complete. And then, slowly, in again. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The moonlight has shifted. It touches the mist at a different angle now, somewhere above and behind you, and what reaches you is only the ghost of moonlight, a softness, a slight lifting of the dark, enough to know that the dark is not absolute, that somewhere above the canopy and the clouds the moon continues its patient arc. But here where you sit it is very dim, very gentle, very quiet. A leaf falls somewhere in the darkness. You hear it touch, one leaf below it, and then another, and then the ground, soft, unhurried, the smallest possible arrival. A moth passes, just the faintest movement of air near your face, just the suggestion of wings. The tree behind you breathes, or it seems to breathe, its enormous trunk expanding and settling by a fraction too small to see, but felt, perhaps, against your back. The steady presence of a living thing that has breathed through 1,000 seasons and will breathe through 1,000 more. You breathe with the tree, in, out, slow, full, easy. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The sounds of the forest have become one sound now. Not separate, one. Rain and insects and frog and stream and mist and tree, all woven into a single, continuous, living sound that is less heard than felt, that surrounds you like warmth, like the warm dark itself, like sleep. Like sleep. Like sleep. There is the rain, soft, warm, falling, always falling. There is the mist, slow, white, drifting, always drifting. There is the forest, breathing, patient, ancient, holding. And there is you, resting, resting, resting. Here in the warm, and the quiet, and the green, and the dark. Resting. There is nothing to say now. The forest knows this. The forest has known it from the beginning, has been moving you toward this knowing all night, through the mist and the rain and the stream and the moonlight, through the frogs and the insects and the ancient trees, through all the layers of sound and sensation and warmth. This is where it was always taking you, this still place, this quiet. The rain falls barely, barely. The mist moves so slowly, so slowly. The insects sing, below hearing, below thought. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. Your eyes are closed. They have been closed for a long time. The darkness behind them is warm and complete and utterly safe. In this darkness, the forest is still present. You can hear it, feel it, sense the enormous living weight of it surrounding you, holding you in its warm and patient keeping. But it no longer asks anything of your eyes. It asks nothing of you at all except this: to be here, to breathe, to rest, to let go. To let go. Your thoughts have gone, or nearly gone. They drift by now like mist, like the mist, forming briefly, dissolving, the way mist forms and dissolves in the warm night air. You don't reach for them. You don't need to. They come and they go, and you simply remain. Breathing. The stream runs, the rain falls, the forest breathes its ancient, patient breath. Your breath goes in, warm, deep, slow. Your breath goes out, long, complete, letting go of everything. And the pause, the beautiful pause, the still place at the bottom of the breath, where everything is held and nothing is needed, where the body rests in its most perfect quiet. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. The mist rises around you like a gentle tide, slow and warm and white. The moonlight touches it from above, giving it a faint luminescence, a soft glow that asks nothing of your eyes because your eyes are closed, and the glow comes through your skin, through the air, through the simple warmth of existing in a place that is alive. The tree holds you. The roots hold you. The earth holds you. The warm night air holds you. The sound holds you, that continuous, layered, ancient sound, the sound the Amazon has been making for 10 million years, the sound it will make for 10 million more, the sound that needs no audience and offers itself to you freely, completely, without condition. You are held. You are warm. You are here. A last slow drop falls from a leaf somewhere above you, tapping gently on the broad leaf below, the sound perfect and complete and gone. The frog calls once more from its stone by the stream, its low voice moving out through the mist and the trees, traveling until it is absorbed into the immensity of the forest's dark. The insects breathe their single long breath. And everything grows quiet. Everything grows still. Let your shoulders soften, breathe slowly. There is nothing to do but listen. Your breath slow. The rain soft. The forest breathing. You resting, completely, perfectly, here in the warm and the mist and the dark. Held by the ancient forest, held by the warm night, held by the sound of water moving over smooth stones in the dark, moving on, always moving, never arriving, never needing to arrive. Just flowing. Just flowing. Just flowing. The Amazon breathes. The night continues its slow and patient turning. And somewhere in the warm dark, cradled by roots older than memory, wrapped in mist as soft as sleep itself, you let go of the last small thing you were holding. And you sleep. And the forest goes on, as it has always gone on, as it will always go on, breathing, raining, singing, glowing softly in the moonlit mist, keeping watch over you the way old things keep watch over smaller things, without effort, without condition, with the boundless patience of things that have never needed to be anything other than exactly what they are. The rain falls, the mist drifts, the stream murmurs its endless unhurried song. Sleep now. Asleep.